All right, hi guys. I'm Robbie, Ingerbretsen. Do we have my slides up? Okay, there it is. It's official. Hello. I'm Robbie Ingerbretsen. Actually, I see some familiar faces here. That's really exciting. So it's good to see those of you who are friends, and good to meet those of you who are new friends, I guess. So my talk is called Developer-Designer Collaboration for Non-Zombies. There's a theme, I guess, gathering today around collaboration. No, I'm just kidding. Around zombies. And I guess this should go without saying, this talk is for non-zombies. So if there are zombies here, you can tune out. Your turn will come next month at the Brains Conference. So we'll look forward to that. Same talk, different content, focused on you. In the meantime, though, I wanted to tell you a true story to kind of set up this thing I want to tell you about collaboration. So I used to work right here, as that seemed also to be a theme tonight, at Microsoft. And at the time, I was on the WPF team. Does anybody know what that is, even? So the developers in the room, just raise their hand. WPF is a UI platform that Microsoft shipped a couple of years ago. And it was kind of forward-thinking at the time because it was very UX-focused platform. This was like 2004, 2005. And we got to the end of our ship cycle, and we realized that we really did not know how to engage a key audience test, which was designers. And so I got this fun job, which was to go and talk to agencies and development firms and talk to them about how they engaged with designers. So ask them about how their designer-developer collaboration worked. So I went and I talked to 6 different agencies. And I'll show you what I expected to find was something like this. I wanted a flow chart. And I thought this was the deliverable that I was responsible to bring back to my team. Something that said, this kind of person uses this kind of asset, who hands it off to this sort of person who uses a red felt tip marker and puts it in this wire basket. And at the end of these steps, we've produced something that everybody's excited about, and this is design, right? I thought this is what we were going to call developer-designer collaboration. I went through that process, and it was kind of a flop, to be honest. I went through that process, and I didn't find my flowchart, and I looked hard for it. And the fact is that it almost seemed like the flowchart that I was able to come up with was so obvious that it wasn't useful. It was things like you design something and then you develop it, those kinds of things. I couldn't find like this magic flowchart where I was able to combine everything. And I was disappointed, and I think, to be honest, my manager was a little bit disappointed that we didn't find this thing that we were looking for. So it was a flop. I quit my job, in fact, not long after that, but it was unrelated to the flop. So, because as you know, when life hands you flops, you make flopportunity. Flopportunity in this case didn't come for several years, actually. Just recently, I was going through an old hard drive trying to clean it off, and I came across these documents that I'd written, describing some of the interviews that I'd had with these teams. And I went through them again, and I thought, I wonder, now that I've been working in sort of the agency space now for 5 years, and I thought, I wonder, now that I've been doing this myself, how my perspective would change as I review these notes, right? And it changed quite a lot. And so what I want to do for the next 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes, you can look at your watches, is share with you what I discovered from those documents that I think is of value. And how you actually create real developer and designer collaboration that is sort of beyond the flowchart, beyond the our process section of your website. So I came up with 3 things. So the first of these is you need to cultivate a team that is passionate about the thing that they are building. And the good news for you is that actually this is actually pretty easy to do, because I think creative people, and I'd include designers and also developers in that category, are naturally passionate about what they're doing because they're creative. They're creating a thing and they're excited about it. So the main thing that you need to do is fight apathy. And I think people become apathetic when they feel shot down or when they feel lost, or if they do something where their efforts aren't recognized as valuable by the team. And that sort of leads into the second point, which is you need to foster a feeling of educated respect. And this is something that seems to have been said multiple times today. I've got actually a really great quote that I wrote down because I found it after I'd made my slides. Do you guys know who Ornette Coleman is? Does anybody? He's like the Miles Davis of saxophone, kind of. He's a 60s, 70s saxophonist. Listen to this great quote from him. He said, "It was when I found I could make mistakes that I knew I was onto something." So imagine that in the context of jazz, right? A jazz musician. When he found out he could make mistakes is when he knew, that's when he came into his own, right? That's when he became the musician that we know him to be today. Now think about that in the context of a team that you're trying to create. When you know that you can when you know you can make mistakes, you know that you're onto something. So a team that respects each other so much that they're willing to forgive mistakes. If you can create that kind of a culture, I think that you'll foster an environment where people can be truly creative and create their best work. And then last thing is a focus on chemistry and not characters. And there's a tendency in our industry to create rock stars, and we all talk about rock stars and the superheroes. I think we need to, I heard one note that I had was somebody said that they silence the visionaries. And that seems like the opposite maybe of what you would think you want to do, because we're used to talking about the kind of this cult of personality within Steve Jobs, right? Like if you were to silence Steve Jobs, where would Apple be today? But I think the difference is that Steve Jobs is a leader, not a hero, right? In our teams, we want to create leaders, not heroes. And the difference between a leader and a hero is that a leader listens and then acts. But a hero is championing his cause the whole way through. And so I would encourage you to listen and then lead. And I think doing these things, you can create an environment that fosters collaboration, and you will get the best results from your team that you possibly can. So that's it. That's my 5 minutes, and thank you very much.